Hi everybody, this is Pastor Miguel. Today I want to talk to you about the book of Job. This is a book that a lot of people have a lot of difficulty understanding the message behind it. So I want to make a quick summary of the book so that you can understand why these things happen to Job and exactly what the story is about, okay? Because the Bible tells us that Job was a blameless and upright man who feared God and shun evil. So we understand that this man was a godly man that loved God. But so, you ask these questions. Why did this happen to this man who loved God so much? Why did God allow this to happen? And sometimes this is what happens to us as well. I mean, sometimes, we're godly people and bad things happen to us. And we ask ourselves, why are these things happening to us? And so the result is not always sin. Okay, the results of the things that happen in our life, it's not always sin. Things happen because a lot of times people have free will, and so they make choices, and these choices have consequences to them. But in this case, in the book of Job, we have to ask ourselves, why did God allow such a righteous man for these things to happen to him? Why would he lose his children and all of his possessions? And God allowed the devil the power and authority over this man to the point that he made him sick, almost to the point of death. But this man, at the end, remained faithful to God. Okay, he remained faithful to God. God said, "Do not touch this man. You cannot kill him. You could do anything else to him. Take everything away from him, but not kill him." And this is the case with many of us, where we're Christians and we love God, and we ask ourselves, Lord, why is this happening to me? What did I do? Why did I sin? And it's very difficult for people to understand why good things happen to bad things happen to good people. But the Bible also says the rain falls on the righteous and the unrighteous. Okay, but in this case, in the book of Job, let's get back to the issue here. We have to ask ourselves, why did Job? These things happen to Job? Well, if we look at the book, if you start Job chapter 1 verse 4, it says, "And his sons will go and feast in their house, each on his appointed day, and will send and invite their three sisters to eat, drink with them." So it was then, when the days of feasting had run out their course, that Job would send and sanctify them. And he will rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus, Job did this regularly. So this is a thing that Job did. So he tried to justify his family, for obviously there was something going on. There was something going on here with the sons and the daughters. We don't know exactly what happened, but something was going on in these parties that Job obviously thought it was sinful, and he was a righteous man, and he wanted to amend for the sins of his sons and daughters. Okay, now keep in mind that Job is not an Israelite, so obviously this is not in the temple or anything like that. So he was sanctifying things he was sanctifying his sons and daughters through the sacrifices that he was making. Okay, so the first thing we need to realize that Job was a fearful man of God. He feared God, and that's okay to fear God. But this is the thing that we must understand about this book. God is compassionate and merciful. Okay, he's merciful and compassionate. So I think this shows a little bit the fact that Job did not feel that God was merciful and compassionate. So I believe some of those things opened him up for the attack of the devil. Not only that, think about this, okay? He's justifying sin. This is a sinful activity that was going on. He was allowing it. And then after the fact, going to amend for that. It's like, if you, it's like you're sinning and then say, I'll ask God for forgiveness later on. That's exactly what Job was doing. And even though he was a righteous man and he was doing the right thing, he was allowing this sinful activity to happen in his property. And sometimes we have this case, cases where people are righteous people, they're solid believers in God, but they allow sinful activities in their home, and it opens their home up for attacks of the devil. Okay, so what we see is that the devil goes to heaven, and God pretty much gives him authority to destroy Job. Okay, gives him the authority to destroy Job. So Job loses the hedge of God. Okay, God allows him to attack Job and take everything away from his children, everything, all his possessions, and makes him ill. He's sick. And so what happened is that we see throughout the book of Job how Job complains about everything. He complains, complaining, all complaints, not thinking that God is a compassionate and merciful God, and not realizing that he has done some things that have opened him up to attacks of the enemy. And so at the end of the book, we see that God is compassionate and merciful. Okay, but one thing that we failed to recognize is that even though Job complained about what happened to him, and he's, if that will happen to you, you'll be complaining too. Okay, just the fact that Job complained, he never ever turned his back on God. He always have faith. And this is a lot of times where we fail. When things go bad for us, we say, God, why are you doing this to me? There's no God. If God is merciful, why is this happening to me? So I think the book of Job is a good example of what happens to people if during their time of trial, they hold on to God. In the end, they will see that God is compassionate and merciful, and that he loves you so much that he will bring you out of the storm. And as a result of Job's faithfulness to God, God restores everything back to him, even more. He gives him even more. So I believe the moral story is that we need to become, even when we're facing the storms of life and everything's taken away from us, we must remain faithful to God, because he's faithful to us. And therefore, as we remain faithful to God, God will see, that we're faithful to him, and he will deliver us from all attacks of the enemy. And in the end, we'll be rewarded. Thank you for listening to this video. God bless you. Please subscribe to my channel. God bless you. This is Pastor Miguel. God bless you. Bye-bye.